It's Dizzy. I'm standing next to the woods at my house. This winter has been kind of crazy so far as temperatures. We had that really cold snap in December. Now it's warmed up. And most nights it has not been below freezing. The ground is not frozen. I could go and dig a hole now if I wanted to, but it's finally starting to cool down. And we're supposed to start getting temperatures below freezing at night, above freezing during the day, which means it's time to start thinking about making maple syrup. Now, one thing you may have noticed, woods around your house, you might have places where there are a lot of vines all over the trees. Depending on where you live, it's going to depend on what kind of vines you have. When I was in Kentucky, places I saw kudzu covering the trees. My daughter has wisteria and English ivy, which I don't have here. I did have a few years ago down that area a vine which I did not recognize. It wasn't until I saw some berries on it a few years later. I got these red and yellow berries that I realized that it was bittersweet. But there are a lot of vines in places. Some of them are not fun to deal with. They're catbrier, greenbrier, whatever you want to call it. They have thorns. And some of these vines can really, really, really get big. Vines here, this is actually a grapevine. You can see I can't even get my hand around it. They're going all up in the trees, and you may be asking yourself, do I need to cut the vines off of my trees? Plain and simple, that's going to depend. When you get your sap in the trees, it's dependent on the summer before. The vines, like I said, in this tree, they're all tangled up. They're blocking the sunlight. The sunlight is what you need for the sap because it's coming from the amount of sunlight they get in the leaves. It's making the nutrients that the tree needs, and what's left over, of course, is stored as the sap. I'm not going to get into too scientific of an explanation, but if you have too many vines all over your trees, then it's going to affect the amount of sap that you're getting, because the tree's not going to be able to make the nutrients. Not only that, you get enough vines on the tree, it can actually kill the tree. I have seen trees before, the tree was dead. All the foliage on it was from the vines that were covering the tree. And so that's something you need to think about. However, there is one type of vine that I 100% recommending doing something about. This is the tree that's closest to my house. I could not tap this last year because of this vine. A vine that it has, this is poison ivy. And didn't really want to have to worry about getting poison ivy because you can get poison ivy even in the middle of winter. Over on this cherry here, it even shows better what the poison ivy looks like. If you don't know what poison ivy looks like at this time of year, it's very easy to tell. If you have a vine growing up on your tree, look very closely at it, and you can see it has all these little stems come off of it. It looks very hairy. The saying for poison ivy vines is, hairy rope, don't be a dope. Now this is the one vine that I will be cutting off because I want to be able to tap this tree, and I don't want to have to worry about the poison ivy. And like I said, I will be tapping this week, so will be cut. I'll be cutting it both at the bottom and up a little bit higher so that I have a spot where there's no vines, because even once its vine is cut, it will continue to have the sap in it until the vine itself has died. So I hope you've learned something from this, and I hope if you're thinking about maple syrup, you're excited as I am about getting started, and I will talk to you later.